Rocco, we're on TV. We're on TV. All right, so it is Monday, July 1st, 2024. Hope you all had a nice weekend. Here to talk about markets. Some interesting things happen on a low volume day. I'm just going to go off the cuff here. My Sixers signed, the max contract for Paul George, who's 34 years old, and it's just they're going to find another way to break my heart, unfortunately. And when we're talking about them in the summer, it makes me sick. Okay, so let's share screens now that we started on that positive note. Boopity bop. Oh wait, let me pull up the document here. Here we go. So first, I just pulled the switcheroo on my computer. Here we go. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. All right, so what happened today? Bitcoin, big rip. We're going to look at that chart. We were talking about it. I said it was prepped to make a move. Let's see if it gets tired. And it added 5% today, so a big move up. Also, it was green for the overall indices. IWM was the only one showing weakness, down about 80 bips, but all across the board, Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, green, with volatility coming in pretty aggressively, actually, like 2 to 5%, depending on VXX, dollar, VIX, forward futures, etc. So oil and growth were bought today. They rallied while mortgage-backed securities had a big move. Rates were up big today across the curve, and some parts more than others. Preferred stocks had a big move. We're not going to look at that one, but mortgage-backed securities, we will look at that. A big move, and materials fell 1%. So, without further ado, let's get going here. Rocco, stop it. We're on TV. It's come on, show some profession, some professionality. All right, so here's the Dow or the S&P chart. You see we had a low here at 1030, and then we were able to basically this orange line was the volume weighted average price. We were trying to toggle with that all day. Closed at 544.75. We closed at a thrust at 3:30 hour, all the way towards new highs end of day. So pretty remarkable. And in the bigger picture, all I'm seeing again is it's interesting. I was looking at some of the stuff right before I started the program, and I see S&P going to 540 or so around that level, potentially a tad lower. 527, absolute. Bearish scenario over the next week or two. But I've been talking about how I see a little bit of weakness through July 5th or so, right after the holiday, essentially. I believe we're off, obviously, on the 4th. The day before is a half day. So expect light volume all week. Today was quite a bit of it, I think, with under 30 million SPY shares trading. That's pretty pathetic. Yeah, 27 million. So very, people are already essentially on holiday. So now that the machines and the algos do the work, pretty much what you're going to get is, a 2% or 4% reduction in volatility, and the S&P is going up about 20 bips. And that's exactly what you got today, more or less, as we get a bullish July, typically, seasonally speaking. Okay, so here's the SPY chart, as I said. So 540 is what I expect it to come down to or so. Whoops. Yep, right around there, right around 541, 540, maybe a tad lower. And then we're going to have, more new highs. This market just continues to churn about 2% a month is what it wants to do, sticking with that velocity. All right, so let's do it. Let's take a look at what moved today. IBIT, a big move here, 5.5%, I believe it was at the end of the day. So I'm going to go to 5.6. I'm going to go to BITO because it has more history. So we're going to go to the BITO chart here. So we were talking about this just, I believe, last week, almost similar to the way I was viewing Mexico. But Mexico way further away from its 200-day moving average. This trying to toggle against, and I said, you know what? You might have gotten a chance to buy a superstar here. I would probably buy Bitcoin. And look what happened. This is the BITO, also at 5.5%. It's still below it. That 200-day moving average is 2273. It's below it. I think it's going to try and make a run at it. Technically tonight, right? 24-hour markets, and then we'll see where it opens tomorrow. But you should get a mean reversion for BITO to take you to about 24 or so, maybe 24.5. Like I said, that's 220. That's another like 10%, 12% or so in Bitcoin, which I believe is trading like 64K. So as we said, it would tease, get as close as possible to 68 to 70,000 before probably going lower. We'll have to see if you get uniform broadening and such in the overall market to support a move. We'll see. But yeah, I think it's got more to go. It's been consolidating for quite a bit here, honestly, since it kind of put on these. When the highs came in March, you saw lower highs here. That's why I was saying I didn't love that chart. The 200-day continued to rise. It couldn't really ever eclipse $29 with any gusto. And then here we are back again. But this 22.75 mark is very important. I think it's going to make a run at it, and then we'll see what goes from there. All right, next, oil. Oil was up a lot. Yeah, I said oil was up a lot. So USO up 2.5%. This looks like a stretch. I think we were talking about this one last week, and I said this is kind of done. It's hit its head. Voila, I'm wrong. What else is new? You can ask my wife. It happens often. I can't find anything in the house. I become a parody of myself. So she says that. My son says that. You're a parody of yourself. That. So 79.75 I have as the 79.75 right here for its top line of resistance, and you can see why. It was the highs going back to April. Looked like momentum to me. Obviously, it was still existing there, but I looked a little tired. And then voila, up $2 basically to 81.5. What now? I think this is going to mean revert to 77.5. Kind of a matter of time. I think I had like a Biden stroke. I couldn't find the words. I froze. Where's Kamal? Yeah, so then you're going to have like a big down oil day, like down 4% or something like that. Is probably in the cards, I think. But for now, a little bit higher. All right, this is an interesting one. This is the growth, Russell 1000 growth. We typically don't look at this. I believe this may be tied to Tesla. Tesla had a monster day, which is why this is up 0.9. I'm not sure, though. I have to look. Let me just look. What the hey? IWF, what is its main holding? Because you did have some major caps up big today. So this is heavily in Microsoft up 11. Microsoft does 11% is holding, and Apple and NVIDIA. And they had nice days. So anyway, so this growth ETF, let's take a look. Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, this was why are we looking at this today? Had a big up 1% move today growth, this specific fund. I thought this was going to be in distribution mode to about 358 I had. We'll see if this marks the end of it. I mean, just put in new highs on Friday, for goodness sakes. I thought this was going to be a little bit more of distribution towards a 358. So, and then going towards new highs towards 368. But, different things in the cards. Growth, never short of superstar. Things always strong. All right, VMBS, very interesting. Mortgage-backed securities. Monster rip in rates today. A big drop in the actual mortgage-backed securities. Different relationship with yield and price. Anyway, so this did its move. So it's interesting. So I have this up on another chart as well. We're going to talk about this as an ETF. So it put its highs in 2 days after Christmas. So in terms of superstar performance, it's back in the heyday, back 6 months ago, essentially. And that was at $47, we'll call it. We're rounding, okay? And then now it's been holding its 200-day moving average and started falling on hard times around April 10th. And now it's kind of staged a comeback, I would say, as of May 10th. It had that tough month, and now it's right back to this level. What happens now? So now that I framed it so eloquently and beautifully like that, Rocco just farted as I'm talking about the 200-day moving average of mortgage-backed securities. So I think I'm doing this on a different time series. I think the lows around 44.85. I think this holds. The 200-day moving average is on a meaningless level, especially for things that move like this, lower volatility, representing a fixed income asset like this. So I think it holds. I don't think it's a buy immediately right now. I think it's actually going to trade along this 44.90 level for the next 1 to 2 weeks before, trying to basically just bounce back to 45.5. So that's how, specifically we're talking about that one. XLB materials, a big move lower. So we're talking about these two. So XLB down 1.5%. We were talking about this one the other week too, excuse me, because it had such a fall recently. So now why it looks like it wants to go to this 85 and test its 200-day moving average, similar to what it did here on February the 5th. It's been a star holding its 200-day moving average since before Thanksgiving, since November 16th. So a good track record. It's becoming oversold now at 28.6 RSI. It typically doesn't do that. It's probably a buy, to be very honest with you. I don't hate this story. I have another chart up for a support at 87.15. It's right along there. I think you're going to a nice mean reversion bounce to 89.5 in this name over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm not really looking at throwing fresh cash, although I think the time is coming to do that because I think we're going to get higher highs in the S&Ps, and I think the broadening is happening, and I think this might be an area. That looks interesting. All right, so top 5 gainers the past 5 days, no repeats. So IBIT is the top trade of from the long side of the past 5 days. Obviously, a lot thanks to today, and we looked at that chart already. That is the best long in the market. Okay, so second best long in the market, IGV, the North American tech software, is up 4% in the past 5 days. Bitcoin's up 7%. Let's take a look at this chart. IGV, always important and emblematic of what's going to happen in tech. I think we're way too frothy. It's got, breakaway, like hockey player type movement here, but like 85.60, this thing should have slowed down. And I have that. Is that right? 85.60, even with expansion. I'd say 85, like, say 86. Yeah, this is like 2 bars overdone. This should come in. I think you're going to see some consolidation in this space. This is a bit too much, but this is what happens when sometimes you spring off the 200-day moving average, kind of reconfirms price, and they say, you know what, this thing's on sale, and you get a rip from 78 to 87 in just a month. So pretty extraordinary. So this one is the second best long in the entire market over the past 5 days. Looks good, but overextended. The KRE regional banks were kind of all the rage last week. I remember talking about it a couple times. So now it's up 3% in the past week. It is your third best long in the entire marketplace. Now, what I had said, it hit its head on around 49.70. Where's that actual bar? I think literally it was today. The high today was 49.55. I have the high right around that bar. That takes us all the way back to May 23rd. I think this is going to be distribution mode to just around 47.60. So not, anything horrendous, but $1.30 coming off. So that will, that space will feel some pain. But I think this is going to be in distribution mode. ARK popped here. It's up 3%, let's call it, for the past week, and it's your fourth best long in the marketplace. I'm short ARK G, which is still, it's funny, as a pairs trade, it's killing it. ARK in the past week, ARK up 3%, ARK G down 5.5%. So that's great, absolute return. So we were looking at this last week as well. This has strong resistance at 45. So that's this. Well, I'll just say it like this. Very strong resistance at 46.5. We're at 44.5 today. I think this is going to just hover around 44 for a while. I think this is a little bit too rich, and it should come off. The 200-day moving average still looks heavy. This 45.20 number is significant for it, and I don't think it hasn't really showed that it can hold it since mid-April. And I don't think the rate story is changing where it's going to be worth it. And the fifth best long of the week is oil USO, where you look at that chart, up 2.5%. Okay, top 5 losers of the past 5 days, no repeats, and they command 2 of the best trades in the entire market. So long IBA is the third best trade in the marketplace, the best short overall. The best trade overall and the best short, UNG, down almost 16% in the past 5 days. So remarkable. Let's look. So it is down 5%. Both of them. I think I'm crying. What is a salty discharge? So let me zoom out here. So zoom in rather, because it's such a piece of crapola. So similar. Wow, what a move, man. Again, if you were an astute trader, not like me, but like if you saw this tag of the 200-day moving average and the respective commands, this thing got to Kembe really like an Embiid ball. Call back to the Sixers right here. This 21.05 level, like specifically, it's gone from 21 all the way to 16.5, and that was from June 12th to today. So monster move of what is that? 21 to 16, 5 points. That's like 20%. You could have made obviously a ton of money in options, even if high volatility. This is probably like an 80 vol asset. So what happens now? I said this was going to be in distribution mode, but only down to about 16.85. Where do we close here? I think this might be a little bit overdone. I think it's probably, I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, but this was like once it popped to 18.5. This one's a big mover too. This was a little bit overdone from this spring to this. So we'll see. It didn't even happen last time we got to Kembe. From the 200-day, it went to its 21 EMA, exponential moving average, and then tried to get right back. Here went through the 21 EMA all the way to the lower band. So a special weakness and not gas. Speaking of not gas, this dog stinks right now. I love him and he's adorable, but he's passing some violence. TAN just continues to be an interesting area. So TAN down 8.5% is the second best trade in the market. Of course, because I said it. I said this was going to be an area that was going to move, and it has. It's down 8.5% in the past week. So you didn't have to be in this trade for 4 months. This is exactly the kind of stuff we're talking about. I should probably adapt my trading to be a little bit shorter term to capture some of these things. But that's for me and for my journaling. So TAN, what happens now? I said this was going to consolidate. It's funny. It was down 2.5% today, and that's even with a monster move in Tesla. This used to trade very correlated with Tesla, but they've become unhinged, kind of like, I don't know, our country prospects. So this had support around 42.10. It did plunge through it the other day. We did expect those, the 52-week lows to hold. Is this a new 52-week low today? No, it did it right here. Wow, just by pennies. Wow, April 22nd. Gee. So very, very close. Bad momentum here. I think it holds, but I mean, like we said, never short a superstar, never go long, just a piece of crapola. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything negative about Paul George, but buying this, expecting a huge turnaround is kind of like paying him $50 million a year at 34 years old. I don't want to say it. I hope he gets out of the first round. He does that, right? He's done that all the time. Playoff paid. That's the thing. He earned that nickname. All right. I love Tyrese Maxey. He'll be fun to watch. Love Embiid, but Celtics win the division. It's brutal. All right, so ARC-G, I'm short this. I'm glad to be short this. I make jokes. Sometimes I'm a good trader. So yeah, I've been short this one for a while. It's been doing really well, actually. This is a hedge, and now it's actually growing in the portfolio, so it's actually becoming more of like a, still almost as a spec position. What now? I said I didn't expect big things out of this to the downside. Look at this. Down more, 1% further or lower. Continued momentum can be a vicious or just an amazing continued thing. It's like standing, in a crowded movie theater and trying to go the other way first and scream fire. So it's just difficult to go against the momentum. But this has support, I thought, around 23.05 ultimately, and it is holding for right now. I think this you can get a pop to 24.72, and I think maybe you have a little bit of an unwind. The strength of ARC reverses into a little bit of flow into ARC-G. Look at that, heady. All right, fourth biggest losing trade of the past week. The rates has not been good to this group, the home builders. Home builders down 5% in the past week. It did a lot of it today. 2.5% of it was today. So, yikes. A very good story, though. Very positive. We'll see how close it wants to get to this 94.14. I've invested in this area in the past. It's not doing so great versus SPY in terms of relative strength since May 28th. It's on a massive time frame. I don't like that, coupled with the fact that it peaked in March. Overall, positive story. Still rise 200-day moving average. It's really essentially been basing since February, since right around Valentine's Day when you had the microwave meal by yourself. It's been doing nothing. It's been in an extraordinary, $12 range. So nothing crazy. I think it's probably got great support here at 97. I think this holds. And I think it's going to get a pop to about 103, right around there. So that'd be a nice $5 move. And probably relief in rates would help. You saw what we were talking about with the mortgage-backed security. So what it meant for that. All right, and lastly, the K-Web, the fifth worst area for investment, the fifth best short, said another way, is Chinese internet, down 4.5% in the past week. Today, basically flat, up 30 bips. Now what? Let's see. Yeah, so I think we're talking about this as well. So really good support at 27.5. 27 even. Just viable support in that. After it showed those, indications of being overbought, kind of have a new profile there in a way since April 23rd. That 200-day moving average is at 27 even. It held. Could it give it up this week? Yeah, absolutely. But this looks not horrendous. I think you get a bounce to 28.5 on this. So maybe today was the slow beginning. So any hooser. 3 best trades of the past 5 days: short nat gas, short solar, long Bitcoin. If you're in those or any of those, congrats. And I still say rewatch if you can or want to, or watch for the first time. The Friday video, which is a summary of the first half. I saw some other media outlets basically talk obviously about the same stuff. What matters? Single stocks can move one way or the other. You want to look at spaces. So if Mexico and Brazil are reasons for shorts in the market and semis and growth and Bitcoin or longs, that's going to carry into September, into December. It's just, there's not that many easy trades in the market, but those have continued momentum. You want to probably be on that side. All right, chitty chitty bang bang, and I will see you later.